atWork Australia would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands and pay our respect to elders past and present. This podcast is being recorded in the southwest and Western Australia, which is land of the Noongar people. We'd also like to pay our respects and acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands from wherever you may be listening from. Hello and welcome everyone to a special edition of Candid Conversation with Shaun. Today's episode is in celebration of International Women's Day. International Women's Day is a great opportunity to recognise and celebrate the incredible contributions that women make in our workplace, our communities, and the contributions they make to making the world a better place. By engaging in these celebrations, it contributes to making a more gender equal world where everyone has an equal opportunity to be able to pursue their goals and aspirations. In this episode, I speak with an inspirational woman. She's also an atWork Australia client and she's reached some incredible heights throughout her working career, but she's also lost it all. But with strength and determination, she's managed to find her way back and land on her feet. I really hope you enjoy this episode and my conversation with Jasmine. Our oldest daughter's 3, so I think when she goes back to swimming lessons, she'll have to go in by herself now.
Cute.
They cut them off quite early.
Yeah.
But we got a pool at home, so she's quite a confident swimmer. She's probably a little bit too confident, actually. So
turning it back on her.
No, you got to be so careful when they're in the pool, don't you?
Yeah.
So thanks so much for agreeing to come on today and share your journey and experience with atWork Australia. We really appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, no problem.
And
you guys helped me.
Fantastic. And I think it's a really good opportunity to share your story. We want to sort of highlight your journey and share it in line with International Women's Day this weekend, talking about some of the incredible things that you've done throughout your working career.
Yeah.
So you've experienced some highs and lows throughout your working career. Do you mind telling us a bit about your career in general, how you got started in the industry you're in and how you found yourself to be working in Silicon Valley?
Yeah. So many years ago, I had small children. And I thought, so I went overseas. So I traveled a bit and I was in the Philippines and I thought to myself, these people that are living there, it's like a fifth world country, they're so, they didn't have the opportunities. And I thought, oh my God, I have so many opportunities at home. I could do whatever I want. So I thought, oh, I've got to go back home. And I got home and I thought, I wonder what the best career path is for me, to be able to provide and to be able to be a good role model and something that's quite interesting and the latest. So then I seen an advisor and they sort of pointed out, oh, you could do this, like IT. And it was, this is like the early days, right? So it was all about networking. It wasn't really programming. And so I set about getting my entry criteria done to going to university and picked my course of Bachelor of Information Technology, that I'm going to be a programmer. And it was very male dominated back then, I was the only female that used to turn up to the lectures.
Did that put you off at all?
No. I was always a tomboy.
Yeah.
Yeah, always wanted the cricket set and wanted to play with cars and ride bikes backwards and motorbikes and scooters. Yeah, and so off I went on my merry way and did my Bachelor of Information Technology at Western Sydney University, and I had 4 small children.
How did you manage that at that time? How old were your children when you started your uni degree?
I had a newborn. He was 5 days old. And I had 3 that were, I think, really quite small, maybe kindy, maybe 4, 5, and 7, something like that. And I also I delivered newspapers, paper runs, and I did an accounts position at a local place. So yeah, I was busy.
How is there physically enough hours in a day for you to do that? Like at the moment, I work full time. I've got 3 young children, and I've just put my study on hold for a little minute because I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get back to study or find time for study or the energy. That's incredible. Well, congratulations to you for doing that.
Thanks.
So you're studying with 4 young children when you started your degree.
Yeah, I finished it full time too. I did a full time degree. I did have to drop some subjects here and there to cope, but I finished it.
I'm just shaking my head right
20
now.
years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. My sister says I'm not normal, but nor is she. She's got 3 masters, so she's quite high up in the Air Force. So
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it must run in the family. And my auntie has a doctorate and stuff like that.
I
And my
guess
mum was a dux of the school. So
I guess it's a good trait to have.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, so I did my information technology degree, and when I was in my last six, they were outsourcing overseas all the development work. So I thought, oh, I need to focus on like what do I do now? There's going to be no job for me, and I've just spent all this time and money. And so I studied the project management subjects, and then came out and went straight into a project liaison role with Department of Defence, and at Defence National Storage and Distribution Centre. So, yeah, I worked there for a number of years. Then just started I was very ambitious and always wanted to earn more and get a better job title. So I just kept on going and yeah, went through the defence industries, so Thales and British Aerospace. And then, yeah,
And I guess while you're growing your career like this, how are you managing working full time and then juggling a young family as well? What challenges
um,
did that bring?
a lot. So did a lot of lying and sneaking around in my workplace because I had to be so I was the only female on a leadership team. I would think I was early 30s in a defense industry and on the leadership team, and I looked after 5 sites in New South Wales. So I looked after regional New South Wales as a manager for IT of things. So I did have to sneak out to dentist appointments, and I did have to deal with people not wanting to help me because I should be able to manage on my own, and just being questioned about what's wrong with you. You're not normal. Other people can handle their families, but they were all men, they weren't women.
Yeah,
So I found it quite challenging, and I was just kept on going, and I was like, oh, I need to leave this place and go find another job. So I always tried to position myself 15 minutes from home so I could get to the kids' school or get them and take them to an appointment. And one of the things that did happen is I had to send my 8-year-old daughter on a train to the city to go to her own medical appointment because they were really getting on top of me about,
wow.
not being contactable.
Yeah.
So I did
And
have to juggle.
I guess 20 years ago, there would have been a lot more discrimination in the workplace, especially
Yes.
in a male dominant industry that like you're working in.
Everything is, yeah, and even sexual discrimination from the women, and then also the sexual harassment from men.
How did you handle these additional challenges? Did it motivate you to want to prove them wrong?
Yes, I would just set my next goal and train up and go for that next. Always have had something to look forward to. So, yeah, I'm just thinking about a challenging time that I did have, and I did have to leave that organization because they just kept on going at me. So that wasn't a really good experience, but it made me grow, and it made me sort of say, this is what I need to do for my family. So it made me set more boundaries. And now I'm in a position where I can actually leave now and go off and take half an hour to go and watch my grandson go to swimming lessons, whereas I don't even need to ask.
Yeah, yeah. It's good to
It's
have
still
that
that same
flexibility within
situation.
your workplace. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can work from 8 to 6 between those hours, and I just have to do
Yep.
the 7 hours a day. So
Yep. If we can rewind then, so then tell me a bit more about the journey of how you made your way to Silicon Valley.
yeah, so this has all got to do with the COVID period. So I was in a position where I was doing a transformation project. So it was a major transformation for a business, and the IT was costing them so much that they couldn't afford to keep the business, so they were going to sell it. So I came in and did a transformation project, and we were rolling that out, and then COVID hit, so we got that business up and running. But while all of this was happening, I had a long distance relationship with somebody that lived in the States. So at that time, like I used to go over and think, oh yeah, I could work at Google, and I would go around Silicon Valley and get photos taken out the front of these places and think, oh, I could live here one day, but I didn't think I would. But when COVID hit and I was sort of in lockdown in the middle of the city by myself, and working from my lounge room, and then an opportunity came up. So the consulate contacted me and said, well, do you want to go to America? Because if you come in and like do the interview and do this process, then you'll be able to leave the country. And so I went through that process and obtained a permit to leave. So I was one of 17 people to fly out and go to the States. So the plan was to go over and go through that process and get a green card. And so when I went over there, I did some upskilling. So I did project management professional studies and also my Scrum Masters, and learned to talk like Americans do for the IT, like for IT project management. So I learned all the jargon and stuff like that. And it took me, so I traveled for 1 year and then I got my green card and was able to apply for positions there. So that's how I got to Silicon Valley.
And then I know most of us probably would never get to experience working for one of the biggest tech companies in the world, but can you talk
Yeah.
to us about the process of applying for a job and going through a recruitment process and then landing a job at Apple? What's it
Yeah.
like to work for a company like that?
Yeah, it was all pretty exciting. So at the time I had applied for a number of positions and I was getting a lot of callbacks. So I was quite surprised. And I thought, oh, my resume must be great. But one of the things they look for is the 20 years worth of project experience and IT experience. They want somebody senior that's able to show resilience and be able to, run large meetings. I think one of my meetings I invited like 350 people to it. So they're quite high profile projects and you need to just be able to work under the pump. So I was getting calls from Disney, Comcast. Comcast, one of the biggest communications company over there, and Twitter. Lucky I didn't go with Twitter because they went under quite soon after with Elon Musk coming in. And yeah, and then so Apple. So I was actually negotiating with two of them, and I was persuaded by Apple to go with them. But I did have to write, I think I wrote like a 5 or 10 page like essay to address their selection criteria. And I submitted that and I had interviews the same day and the next day they locked me in and I had a contract signed. They're pretty much straight to the point. Tell me about your experience. Don't talk too much. They don't have time to waste.
Yeah.
And it was basically bang, bang, bang. Yep. And signed the contract. But the positions are very competitive over there as well. And a lot of people try and get into Apple. So I was quite surprised and was onboarded and shadowed for 3 months. So shadowed a senior engineering project manager. So I got the role of
Yeah.
engineering project manager. Shadowed them for 3 months and then worked on quite large retail buy flow projects, which is if you want to purchase a device or like an Apple iPhone or a Mac or something. So if you go through that process, you'll be able to trade in your device and recycle. So I worked on those projects. And I've worked
That's
on some secret projects that I can't talk about as well.
well, well, that's what just piqued my interest. It probably, um, but it
Yeah.
does sound like an incredibly exciting time of your life. What else would you do for fun while I guess you're living? Sounds like you're living a high flyer lifestyle at the moment, sort of earning big dollars, living this fantasy life. What was it like throughout this period of your life?
Yeah, so it was still COVID lockdown time, but so I got to work from home. So I lived on 4,000 acres right near Joby, if anybody knows Joby. I'm not sure if you know it, and
No, no.
Lockheed Martin. So I lived on a property that had so they have the big defense contracts and the flying car contracts.
Oh,
So it's
wow.
quite, it's Silicon Valley in the mountains and the beaches. And I lived on a property and we had like there was two waterfalls on there. So at lunchtime I'd be able to go for a hike up through the redwood forest and go swimming in the waterfalls and look at crawfish and trout and salmon. So
Yeah,
yeah, I did a lot of stuff there. I went skiing, I did kiteboarding, went out to San Francisco dancing with our masks on for COVID time, big down to Big Sur in lots of hot springs, camping. I went to Grand Canyon. I traveled for a year as well.
yeah.
So yeah, I got to experience the whole of the West Coast in California.
Wow. I
Yeah,
guess from an outsider's point of view, it seems like life was going pretty well for you then.
it was
I guess
beautiful.
what happened that which forced you to come back to Australia?
Oh, so I had to, so they had the lockdown end, and so I had to start traveling to work. So it was taking me three to 4 hours every day, and I was driving on one of the most dangerous roads in the States. And it was like all of these hairpin turns, and there's cars flipped nearly every day. So it just got a little bit stressful with the travel and the intensity of the work. So I need to be really focused and switched on. And so I ended up getting another Like I think I did about 4 or 5 projects there, and I was handed another big project, and I was actually getting quite ill from the travel. So I was feeling run down, and then I was crying and missing my family. So I really think that if I lived closer to work and if I was able to see my family more, you only get 2 weeks holiday a year. You have to be on quite a lot, and you have to be willing to work at night too if you need to. So I made the decision when I got handed another large project was to resign quite quickly and move back home where my support network is, and be close to my family. And I have kids here, and their babies are getting bigger, and so I think they need my support, and I really love to be around them as well.
Must have felt like
Yeah.
you were missing out on other aspects of your life.
Yeah, I mean, I really miss it over there, and I miss a lot of things. Like I raised ducks, I had chickens, I had a dog. So I did have to make a decision to leave that and come back home, and I was going to try and get back over there a bit more, but that opportunity hasn't really presented
Yeah.
itself now with my new full-time job and my
Yeah.
commitments here. So that's been a little bit difficult.
So I guess it sounds like you've obviously been a very career-driven person. How does it feel to go from working at such a prestigious company like Apple to sort of coming home, and then you mentioned when you got back to Australia, you were left without work for some time. Does it feel like your career
Oh,
was going
yes.
backwards?
I nearly died. So it
It
was
must have
really
been hard.
quite devastating. Yeah, it was really quite devastating because I had a plan, right? I always have a plan. So this plan sort of didn't work out for me because Australia's been experiencing some difficult times. So some companies had to put employment freezes on, and that actually impacted my plan and left me quite short with money, and actually no place of abode, so no accommodation for myself really, other than family, who were all experiencing stressful times and couldn't really help me out the way I needed it at the time. So yeah, that situation impacted my living circumstances, and I ended up deciding that I should go and buy a really good tent and hit the road in my little hatchback, which was an interim car, so not really a great car to decide to travel in for a while, and just go and, ground myself and reflect, and not to try and force myself into things that I didn't want. I had a particular role that I wanted here, like in the area. So that was kind of a difficult time, and still recovering sort of mentally from that,
Yeah.
maybe a little bit
I,
physically too. Yeah.
yeah. I bet when you were getting around the caravan parks, living in a tent, if you spoke to other travelers, they probably didn't believe you were working at Apple just a few months ago.
Yeah, so I wasn't living in caravan parks or camping in caravan parks. I actually went and found free camping places because I couldn't afford
Oh,
to pay for camping. But when I did get this interview that I had been waiting on, I did go and stay in a caravan park for 3 days and splurged on $20 a night, which I really
oh,
couldn't
wow.
afford at the time. And I couldn't even afford medication. So it was in a really, really tight spot. Yeah. So I was
And,
quite pleased to get the interview, but I was quite sick at the time too. So it wasn't the
and
best
it,
case.
it sounds like you went from being in the top of a roller coaster to dropping to the bottom, and it spiraled down very quickly. Can you tell us a bit about how Outwork Australia become a part of your journey?
Yes. So I didn't think anybody could help me, and I had to help myself. So I got a phone call one day, and the gentleman on the phone, he was quite nice, and he said, "Oh, maybe I'm here to help you. I can help you prepare." I said, "I don't think you can really help me at all. I need to help myself." And I sort of explained my situation to him, and he's like, "Yeah, maybe I can't help you that way, but how can we help you?" And so that was a really interesting thing. And my daughter told me that, "Mum, you need to speak up and you need to ask." So one of the things I learned during this, 5 months that I was floating around, reflecting on my life, was to ask for help. So I told him, "Well, my laptop broke and I don't have, I basically don't have money for this and that." So he gave me, he said he can most probably organize me a laptop, and organized a laptop for me, gave me fuel vouchers, food vouchers, and a place just to check in and talk. So I was able to start to prepare for this interview that I was going to have. And so it really helped me. And I was able to drive around and do things that I would have been actually limited, like pay for telephone service.
Credit, yeah. I think a
Yeah.
lot of these things are the fundamentals. You might not realize it at the time, but without these things, it becomes very difficult to get a job when you can't drive to an interview, you can't, I guess, afford proper accommodation, so you're not feeling your best, your mental health
Yeah.
deteriorates because of your situation.
Yeah. So it was better, easier for me to block it all out and just go camping than deal with it, right? When I was offered the help, I was like, okay, back to a plan, get a plan. So yeah, it was good. And I actually didn't, I had put my stuff in storage, my remaining stuff that I had here. So I didn't have any clean clothes. I have access really to a place to wash my stuff. And it was really just a hard time. And I wasn't able to think properly. So when the atWork Australia helped out and checked in with me and kept checking in with me, it actually really helped me just to get across that last hurdle, last
I think,
challenge that was thrown at me. I'm
yeah,
sure it's
and
not the last.
no, I think life always brings you new challenges throughout different stages of your life.
Yeah.
But I think your story really demonstrates your resilience and your ability to keep fighting when you might be down. Tell us now, you've landed back on your feet and you're now working in a senior position. Can you tell us a bit about your current role?
Yes. So even when I joined my current role, it's a permanent position. So I'm very, very lucky and I'm very, very grateful. But I think there was a few people that were maybe displaced when I came in because they weren't permanent and they did have to step aside. So it was still a challenging time for me to come in and not be quite accepted how I thought I should be and things not go the way they were meant I thought they should go. So I did have to like have a transition period. So now I've settled into my role and I have a team and I have goals that I've set with them and we're actually kicking goals. And I think it's before that there was reports of the team doesn't deliver, there's no progress, and there was all of these just things that might not have been so true. And so I've been able to work closely with them and bring it to light. And we're actually going quite well and getting good feedback. So it's really quite good and I feel a part of the community again. And I'm quite happy and thankful, and I do reflect on what's happened. So, yeah, it's quite a
It just
special
goes.
time now.
Oh, that's great to hear. I'm glad to hear it's a positive outcome of your journey so far. And
Yeah.
I guess to tie things back to the theme of this episode and highlighting International Women's Day, throughout your working career, and I guess your job now, do you experience any other discrimination or challenges in the workplace because you're a woman?
Yes, I think I do. And I have people speak on my behalf. So, one of the things when I came for the interview, I said to them, they said, in your perfect world, what would it look like? And I said, when I don't have to walk behind a man and explain to him what needs to be said in a meeting for him to explain on my behalf, I would like to be able to speak for myself and have people listen to me. So, I think in the tech industry, it's changing out there and it's changed a lot. I think that's still a big thing for
Yeah.
women.
How do you think we can continue to progress in this space?
I think everybody's doing a great job. People out there that are advocating on behalf of women are doing a great job. Yeah, I
Oh,
do
oh,
mentor
that,
women as well. And I have mentored a
yeah.
lot along the way. And I've actually advised them that I don't think this is a salary you should be on. You need to ask for more because I know that what men are on and what women are on. So I do quietly advocate for women.
And I think that's just atrocious. A gender pay gap. A job's a job, regardless who does it. They should be paid the same for performing that job.
Mm, mm.
To tie things up and finish off the episode, what would your advice be to other people out there who might be facing difficulties throughout their employment journey or might be having tough times in life? What would you suggest to them?
Ask for help and don't be afraid to speak up and say what you really need rather than so one of the things also was people thought that I should go and apply for different jobs and maybe not keep on going on my career path and it's stick to what you need to do and it's your journey but ask for help when you need help.
Do you feel like you never asked for help soon enough? You're trying to figure it out on your own?
Oh, I wouldn't have asked for help. I really thought that I had to do it by myself.
And I guess if you could sum it up in one or two sentences, how would you describe your journey and experience of that Work Australia?
Yeah, I found
Like,
everybody friendly when I went into the office at Warrawong. And they were very friendly, and there was food there, and I was like, "Oh my God, free food! This is really nice." And I was able to use their facilities, so it was quite a good experience that I had when I was quite down and out, and I was crying walking into there. Every time I walked in there, I was crying.
yeah, I know it's always A lot of times our clients come to
Yeah.
us and they're at a very vulnerable time in their life. So I'm very glad to be able to hear you've had a positive experience and you're able to walk out with some help and support, and you've been able to land back
Yeah.
on your feet, and you're now thriving back in your career you dreamed about.
Yes, yes. I had stalked this position for a year before I actually was able to put an application in. So I was watching the job feeds for ages, trying to find a job at this place.
Well, you stick at it long enough and you got what you deserve. So
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Shaun.
I've even inspired myself today listening to you, how you studied full time with 4 young children and worked. It makes me realise that I've got no excuses. I think you can be an inspiration to other women to pursue their goals in the workplace, and you should be very proud of your achievements. Thank you so much, Jasmine. I really appreciate having you as a guest on our podcast.
Thanks very much, Shaun.
Thanks everyone for tuning in for another episode of Candid Conversations with Shaun. I really hope you enjoyed my conversation with Jasmine, and in celebration and recognition of International Women's Day. The more we talk about and celebrate these special days throughout the year, the more awareness we can build around the incredible contributions that women are making in our workplace and in our communities, so that everyone has an equal opportunity to be able to achieve their employment goals. As always, to find out more information about anything we discussed today, please refer to the links in the show notes.